Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 WTF Justin Bieber moments. For this list, we'll be looking at various controversial, questionable, or just downright bizarre things that Justin Bieber has reportedly done over the course of his career.
Justin, if you're watching, look away now.
Number 10. The High Plane. Few people can say that they've smoked marijuana on an airplane. Even fewer can say that they smoked so much that they forced the pilots to wear oxygen masks. But hey, the Biebs ain't your typical passenger.
They searched even some empty bags after everyone had gotten off the plane. Bags that with an indication that marijuana had been inside, but because there was no proof about where it originated from and who it belonged to, not enough to charge anybody.
Back in February 2014, Bieber, his father, and an entourage were flying to New Jersey, and they allegedly smoked so much marijuana that the pilots donned gas masks so as not to fail any upcoming drug tests.
But the pilots were wearing oxygen masks because they were worried that something they might not be able to fly the plane.
This occurred despite the pilot repeatedly asking them to stop smoking because he was, trying to fly an airplane. They were also reportedly verbally abusive towards a flight attendant, to such an extent that she was forced to stay near the cockpit to avoid interacting with the party.
A petition to deport the Canadian-born singer now has enough signatures to get the attention of the White House.
Number 9. Wearing overalls to meet the Prime Minister of Canada. Here's a situation for you. You are a major celebrity. You're being honored with the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal to honor your contributions as a Canadian. And you get to meet the leader of your country. So what do you wear?
Dresses like an American hillbilly. Is there anything about this that strikes you?
Other than he's dressed inappropriately? Yeah, he looks terrible.
As Justin Bieber quickly found out in 2012, the answer is not overalls and a backwards baseball cap. Bieber's questionable choice of attire was fiercely criticized by the media, with many left in a state of utter disbelief.
It's not just that he wore this getup, it's where he wore it, while getting a prestigious award from the Prime Minister of Canada.
According to Justin, he'd just come from a meet and greet and didn't have a change of clothes. If you're meeting the Prime Minister, and also happen to make a pretty comfortable pop star salary that you could use to pay people to help you, then maybe you should make sure that you do have a change of clothes. Well, at least Stephen Harper still gave a thumbs up in the photo op.
In fairness to Justin Bieber, I told him I would be wearing my overalls too.
Number 8. Renting out the Staples Center. Is renting out an entire sports arena for a date heart-meltingly romantic or a little showboaty?
You think she's gonna like this?
Whatever your opinion on the matter, that's exactly what Bieber did back in 2011.
He saw Mr. Deeds, and he wanted to do the whole Adam Sandler thing, surprising Winona Ryder at Madison Square Garden.
After attending a Demi Lovato concert, Bieber took his then-girlfriend Selena Gomez to the neighboring empty Staples Center, where the two enjoyed a fancy pasta and steak dinner paired with a screening of Titanic.
I'm the king of the world!
It certainly sounds like an unforgettable night. Luckily, it didn't cost Bieber a penny, as the owner of the Staples Center gave him the figurative keys as a token of appreciation, as Bieber had sold out the arena on 3 separate occasions.
He gets the Staples Center for free because he sold the arena out 3 times, so they kind of gave it to him as a favor.
Number 7. Wearing a mask. As we've established, Justin Bieber has made some questionable fashion choices.
And he had a gas mask on yesterday going shopping. What is he doing?
If he's not wearing overalls to meet the Prime Minister of Canada, he's wearing a gas mask around London. Yes, an actual gas mask, as in those things that people wear to ward off hazardous substances from entering their lungs. A statement piece, sure, but also a little unnerving for any passers-by. A source told Us Weekly that Justin and his friend Julian Keys wore the masks in 2013 to throw off the paparazzi, and we have to say, that is one creative method for doing so. Most celebrities either grudgingly deal with them, wear hats, or put their hands in front of their face. Bieber wears a gas mask. Different strokes and all that, we guess.
I don't understand. Why is Ellen DeGeneres wearing a gas mask?
Number 6. Egging his neighbor's house. Justin Bieber went through a bit of a bad boy phase for a while there, and that phase included egging his neighbor's house. Back in 2014, Bieber was caught throwing about a dozen eggs at his neighbor's house, an act that caused roughly $20,000 in damages to the house's exterior.
Armed with a warrant, police searched Bieber's home where security camera footage and eggs.
Bieber was charged with misdemeanor vandalism and faced 2 years probation, community service, and over $80,000 in restitution.
With the guy's 13-year-old daughter scared to death.
Oh my God!
His neighbor also filed a lawsuit citing emotional distress, and the two parties entered a years-long battle that was finally resolved in 2018, with an undisclosed settlement. Apparently, egging isn't such a harmless prank after all.
There had been an egging incident. I mean, it's not to say it doesn't matter. When you're talking about using the criminal law here with a dozen investigators, it doesn't seem to me to be the best use of the police force.
So are they trying to send a message to the community that they're taking it seriously, or to him?
Number 5. Carried on the Great Wall of China. While in China in 2013, Bieber was photographed literally riding on the shoulders of his bodyguards as they carried him up some of the steps of the Great Wall of China.
And he decided that he was too amazing, maybe, to be walking on the Great Wall.
Naturally, this caused mockery and a wide range of insults from the internet, with many calling the act immature and entitled.
This week, spoiled brat Justin Bieber continued his worldwide tour of entitlement.
I mean, this is an almost 20-year-old man essentially getting a piggyback up some steps because he's too lazy to climb them? Too tired? As a pop star, the Biebs has become something of a lightning rod for criticism, far more than his fair share.
What makes you so damn special?
But in this case, he was asking for it, especially by doing it at such a high-profile spot.
I know, that's feisty, but I think that's ridiculous. This bothers me.
Number 4. Calling Anne Frank a believer. Well, we suppose he meant well?
This particular bit of drama actually started in a pretty innocent way. Justin Bieber's on a European tour right now, and last Friday he took the time to stop and visit the Anne Frank house, which is in Amsterdam.
To Bieber's credit, he visited the Anne Frank house in the Netherlands to honor her legacy and toured the museum in 2013. It was a very sweet and mature gesture, or at least it should have been. Then he went and ruined it by writing, "Hopefully she would have been a believer" in the guest book.
That's right, and of course that was that last part that got him into trouble.
This caused a fair amount of internet outrage, with people claiming he warped an important and courageous historical figure into a would-be fan of his. Self-centered was among the gentler things people were calling him.
This weekend, Justin Bieber visited the historical house of Anne Frank, which he found educational, respectful, and life-changing. Is what we would say if he weren't the hugest tool ever!
The museum defended Bieber, citing the visit itself and his good intentions, but still called the message not very sensible. Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Did you take a shit in the Anne Frank house?
Do not go in there! Hey, Spencer!
Number 3. A mop bucket. Back in 2013, Bieber was filmed urinating into a restaurant mop bucket. For reasons?
Quick little piss break, quick restaurant we can get to.
According to his off-screen friend, peeing in a mop bucket is cool and memorable, because everyone pees in restrooms, and peeing in restrooms is definitely not cool.
That's the coolest spot to piss. You'll forever remember that.
Wait, what?
You're not gonna remember him pissing in the restroom. Like, everybody does that.
Justin defended his actions with the most hilarious explanation of all time, telling Complex magazine, quote, "I had to go piss. We all have to pee. The bathroom was like on the other side, and the dude in the club was like, just pee here. He told me I could, and it wasn't like I was being disrespectful. So there you go. Next time you have to go, just find the nearest mop bucket and have at her." No, don't. That is disrespectful and unhygienic. Number 2, the pet monkey fiasco. Ah, yes, everyone surely remembers the famed monkey fiasco.
Not making this one up, the pop star's former pet monkey has emerged. Yes.
Pet monkey?
He had a pet. Some people have cats, some have dogs. Justin Bieber had a monkey.
Once again, we head to 2013, when Bieber brought his pet capuchin monkey to Germany. However, it was seized by German authorities because it lacked the proper vaccination and import papers.
And it looks like Mr. Bieber doesn't actually give a monkeys, as he hasn't even been in touch.
It made for a silly story, but it also pissed a lot of people off, including the shelter that took it, as the sociable monkey was lonely and taken from its mother at far too young an age.
We and the federal office didn't want to do this earlier to protect the animal. His transportation had to remain anonymous too, to protect him. Until now, we haven't had any news, but of course we are ready to give out any information if he is interested.
In fact, Professor of Evolutionary Biology Ben Garrett called Bieber an absolute supermoron for keeping the monkey as a pet. The incident resulted in the monkey having severe developmental issues, and despite seemingly being happy, it still has problems communicating with other animals.
Monkeys. That's weird. Yes, it is.
Before we look at the silliest Justin Bieber story, here are a few honorable mentions.
Thank you, Justin. When the shirt came off, the squeals of delight drowned out the booze. And then Bieber started to vamp, strike a pose.
Make sure this weekend you go see my boy Kevin Hart in the movie Get Hard.
Not quite at the end yet. Almost there, though. Just be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Alright, back to business. Number 1. Calling out Tom Cruise. By 2019, Bieber was starting to slip from public consciousness. Aside from the Despacito remix, he hadn't done much in years. So how does he reignite interest? Challenging Tom Cruise to a fight, of course.
You gotta be kidding.
Could this have been a publicity stunt? The challenge was issued via Twitter on June 9th, and his single I Don't Care with Ed Sheeran had just recently been released. Though it was called a joke at first, Justin later showed legitimate interest in fighting the movie star after having previously backed down.
The Raptors go up 3-1. All of a sudden, every Canadian thinks he's Mike Tyson.
It's a totally bizarre scenario, and it left everyone scrambling as they tried to figure out what the point of it all was. Meanwhile, TMZ subsequently reported that the fight could still happen, if Tom wanted it to.
By the way, we were checking to see if Dana White...